Can we finally do something about this background? Much better. Ghost in the Shell. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know much about the Ghost in the Shell franchise, and haven't seen a lot of Ghost in the Shell stuff like the series or a lot of the movies, but I have seen the 1995 animated film and rewatched it again prior to watching the live adaptation in the theater. The 1995 film was a revolutionary anime for its time and inspired a lot of sci-fi movies such as The Matrix. I remember seeing the 1995 film as a kid and being majorly creeped out. Seeing the major creation scene at the start of the anime as a kid just sent a chill up my spine, and still creeps me out today. I don't know, it's just something about seeing a lifeless humanoid cyborg stripped down to its internal parts that just creeps me out. That, and along with the Ghost in the Shell theme that sounds like an eerie chant, really sets a somber mood. Ghost in the Shell is essentially an origin story for the Major, played by Scarlett Johansson. So it's the future, and the vast majority of humans are enhanced or augmented with cybernetics blurring the lines between humans and robot. We see a woman who is rushed into an emergency ward after a terrible accident and can only be saved by implanting her brain into a cyborg body, and the movie starts out much like how the 1995 anime did, with the creation of the Major. The Major becomes a counter-terrorism operative and joins Section 9 where she hunts down and eliminates hackers and terrorists. Eventually, she's tasked with bringing down a cyber-terrorist named Kuze, and starts to have glitches giving her visions of her past, which leads her on a journey of uncovering the truth of what happened to her. I'm not gonna lie, this movie looks absolutely gorgeous, and the attention to detail in the world building is pretty incredible. You can tell that they took the source material seriously and didn't just make up some stupid bullshit and slap the name of the anime on it just to cash in on a popular franchise. The cinematography and the visuals are definitely the high points of the movie, and the action scenes are pretty amazing too. That scene with the geisha bot that was shown in the trailers was badass, and I thought the effects of the stealth suit was pretty well done too. They were definitely successful in adapting the world of Ghost in the Shell into a live-action movie, because this film was just visually stunning. There are also a lot of scenes from the 1995 anime that are recreated in the movie that provide a lot of fan service, and I honestly wouldn't mind picking up the art book for this movie, just to see all the production designs and the concept art. It's that good. I also really like the score of the film. It reminded me a lot of the Tron Legacy soundtrack and definitely suits the cyberpunk style of the movie. And yes, the Ghost in the Shell theme with the creepy chants also makes an appearance during the end credits of the movie. Despite the movie being beautiful to look at, I felt the story of the film was pretty lacking. The original 1995 Ghost in the Shell anime dealt with a lot of complex themes of the Major trying to figure out her place in the world, and what it means to be human when the only remnant of humanity you have left is your mind. While the live-action adaptation does somewhat dive into these themes briefly, the majority of the film revolves around a pretty generic sci-fi revenge story with a very uncompelling villain. I felt that most of the characters were not very likable either, with the exception of Bato played by Pilou Asbæk and Scarlett Johansson's Major. Those two are great in the movie and have pretty good on-screen chemistry. The rest of the cast, however, just didn't really stand out and were not very memorable. I also found it quite strange how Aramaki, played by Takeshi Kitano, spoke Japanese throughout the film, while everyone else spoke English. It was just kinda weird how he would ask a question in Japanese and would be replied to in English, yet everyone would understand each other in the end. And even though this movie's just under 2 hours long, it felt like it was longer, and has some pacing issues, especially during the second act. Luckily, I never found myself being totally bored as there's a lot of visuals on screen to keep you engaged in the movie. I guess now would be the time where I address the whole Scarlett Johansson whitewashing thing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Scarlett Johansson was good as the Major. She was badass in the action scenes and gave a lot of emotion to the character, or as much emotion as possible playing a cyborg. But I thought that she performed well in the film, and they do also have a storyline in the movie that addresses why she's a Caucasian woman. And while I don't necessarily agree with what they did in the film concerning her ethnicity, and would like to see more Asian actors in lead roles, it had no effect on my enjoyment of the movie, as I probably would have enjoyed the movie just the same had an Asian woman been cast as the Major. It wasn't like they butchered a character like they did with Deadpool and X-Men Origins Wolverine, or an entire franchise like they did with Dragon Ball Evolution. The essence of Ghost in the Shell was there in this movie, and the filmmakers were successful in adapting this world on film. In the end, this is a visually stunning film that faithfully recreates the world of Ghost in the Shell in live action. It does have some pacing issues and the story isn't that great, but I still found myself really enjoying this film because Ghost in the Shell makes me a happy panda. This movie has just been getting brutalized by critics all over the internet, and it feels like I'm the only one out there who actually enjoyed this movie. This movie isn't as bad as everyone says, and I think you guys should really give it a shot. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. It'll really help out the channel. Until next time, Panda out.